Okay, so a few more tips and tricks. A very good thing to do is to keep a lead or a piece of rope in your motorbike. And if you come across a dog who's on a chain, but for whatever reason the people don't want to let it off the chain, or they say they only let it off at night, if it's safe around by where it's chained up, that there's no ledge where if you extend the chain, it could be in danger of jumping and maybe hanging itself. Then you can extend the chain, and doing that will allow the dog to go to the toilet away from where it sleeps. So that can be doing the dog a big service, and at least it can move its legs a little bit more. So that's always a good option. I've used that a few times. I'll just go to the pet shop and buy a lead and then come back and then just try to encourage the people to be a bit more compassionate to the dog and ask them, ask them if they would just ensure that the dog gets enough fitness, because otherwise it's going to destroy the dog's muscle tone. You can also look at a dog's feet, and that'll give you a very good indicator. If the nails are very long, it's on tiles all the time, or it's in a cage all the time, and the feet will sometimes, the tendons lose their tension, and so the feet will end up a bit flat-footed like that. It's called cage foot. And also you have to watch out if there's any bending in the legs. Obviously, puppies with puppy milk, so that can be a separate thing with the legs. But it's always good to look at the paws. If you see the nails are very long, then you can explain to them that without letting the dog out to grind down those nails is going to have other problems. So that's a good option. When I'm in a house with a big family situation, extend the family, I might say to the kids I'll leave some food, and I say to the kids to fatten the dog up. If I've treated the dog and it's underweight, but the skin and the worms are going to be gone because I've given that medicine, I say, hey, you fatten the dog up. I'm coming back with chocolate and chips and Coca-Cola, and I'm going to fatten you up. And you get everybody laughing, but it gets the message across nicely as well. And in my experience, when I've come back, it has been the case. And you're also setting good habits for the future generation to do that, to look after the dog. So that's an easy win. Another one is with local coconut oil, Minyak Kalapa Asli. So when the dog, you got to be a bit careful of a road or whatever, because the dogs sometimes don't like it, they sometimes don't mind. But you can just drip from just below the neck down, because you don't want it dripping up over the head into the eyes. You can just put a line along the back all the way to the tail of coconut oil, and that'll drip down. And if you get a chance, you can do some more, and that will cover the skin, and it'll really speed up the healing possibilities for the dog's skin. And it's like, if you can get coconut oil on the skin, that skin's going to recover in about 3 days. It's miraculous. And just ordinary coconut oil is good enough. Markets are a good place for treating dogs. Night markets or morning markets, sometimes the ladies will bring their dogs there, and the dogs might have skin problems, but if they care about the dog enough to bring it to the market with them in the morning, or it could be dogs that are hungry, and a lot of the people there will care, and that's a good opportunity to treat the dog and explain what you're doing. And it kind of brings along another topic naturally about spreading information. I have information leaflets done up. I have them done up in English, and I have them done up in Bahasa. And so we want to spread the information. I also have, with the help of some other rescuers, an information sheet on puppies, and I have videos on here about those things. When you see posts on Facebook, instead of just typing out a certain amount of information that you think is relevant, it's better to just copy and paste, or it's better to just attach the document with the thing about skin problems, or and the link to a video, for example. That way you can get a huge amount of information across. And if the person genuinely wants to help the dog, instead of just trying to get other people to do it, which is can be often on social media as well. But if they do want to help and they say, hey, that was very helpful, you can say, but please share that with other people, because what we want to do is get the information across throughout the society, so everybody does a little bit, because it's not possible for a small number of shelters to do everything, and there's no reason for this information not to be out there, because it's over-the-counter medicine. It's simple, basic interventions. When you're going around, it's no harm if you keep in mind possible houses where you might want to deliver a puppy to sometime. There might be some occasion where you come across a dog and you just can't leave it. I try not to go collecting dogs. I try to be as hard-hearted as I can, because if I'm not, I won't be able to help the maximum number. But there's sometimes you just got no choice. And if you know a good home, You can talk to the people. I've given, like, I think 2 Judah before to the family, but I'd helped their dogs for 2 years. And then I gave them a lot of food and I gave them a lot of medicine. And I didn't just give food for the dog I get put there. Like, I'm talking like 80 kilograms of food, not like bringing a bag of pedigree chum. So, and I would do that regularly enough. So I'm making it worth their while. I would suggest probably giving more than that and then giving money occasionally. And I did that as well. And I want to make sure that if somebody does me a favor, that they feel good about it. I don't want someone doing me a favor and then later on I haven't they're still doing me a favor by looking after the dog and I haven't kept up my side of the bargain. And also I've mentioned it before, but it's extremely important when you're interacting with other rescuers, with other people. There's actually quite a lot of tension within the dog rescue community because people get highly emotionally charged and will often ask a lot of other people, forgetting that might be helping 10 or 20 dogs. That other person might be helping 1,000 or 2,000 dogs. They might be doing a hell of a lot more than you. So, and you may not have done them favors. They may have done you favors. And if you go asking them for favors when they've already done you favors, they're not going to think very much of you and they're probably not going to interact with you again. So it's not everything's being done for the dogs. But to keep in mind as well that people have their own priorities and stuff. If people have done you favors, be a human. Make sure you do them favors back. It's not hard. If they've done you favors, you haven't done them favors, make sure you don't ask for more. Go figure it out yourself. And if you put yourself through a bit of hassle and you talk to the people out there where there is a dog, you can get things done. You can always pay somebody to give a dog puppy milk. You can always leave bags of food, leave 1 or 2 bags of food at first. After a while, the people around there might be people with stalls, you find that they start to get into the habit. Like the dog will expect food after a while if they've given it food. So in a way, you're doing something nice for the dog, but then the dog's going to come begging and they will give it food after that. So again, you're setting good habits and it's a good thing to keep in mind. So yeah, going back to it, it's a good idea to keep note of where there are potential homes for dogs. And like I said, I try not to go collecting dogs. I try to be proactive because otherwise you end up in a situation where you've got a lot of work to do to keep dogs having a good life in your own home, and then you may be less effective out on the street. Um, and also, I like to encourage people to go out around their area and help. Again, they're going to limit the numbers and the numbers of puppies and stuff. So you're making sure you don't have problems for the future out on your street. If you have information for free sterilization, pass it on at the home and proactively text on the person's phone and get it done while you're there because they may get lazy after that and not bother. So if you can try to set it up on WhatsApp, and the reason you're going around helping their dog is because they were lazy. So you can expect that they will continue to be lazy as soon as you leave. But meeting a foreigner helping out, they might have a sudden burst of enthusiasm because of the unusual experience. So it's a good opportunity to try to get things moving a bit. And to also with those information sheets, you get the people to take a photograph. You show them the medicine. You show them how you're chopping the medicine. Show them what you're doing. Get everybody involved. Thank them. Tell them they're all wonderful. You have some really nice experiences, and you meet some really nice people doing it. And a lot of people just don't care. That's fine. But when they see the results from the dogs a few weeks later, then that's very good. And also, we're putting on social pressure on people by helping street dogs because when people are seeing street dogs looking absolutely magnificent and then their dog's itchy and mangy at home, they know that that's not normal for a dog and that can be improved, that can be fixed. So that's also very helpful. I wonder, are there any more? So yeah, and going back, I've said it in a few videos, but be careful of people overwashing dogs. If a dog's skin is already bald or in any way inflamed, putting shampoo and soap on a dog's skin, on anyone's skin, shampoo and soap contain an acid. A lot of people have very sensitive skin. Most people don't have very sensitive skin. But if the dog's skin's already sensitive, I can assure you, washing it's going to make it much worse. And don't do it. I think that for medicated washes, once off, dried properly, and then treated after with aloe vera or coconut oil, maybe. but you got to be careful of that. That's one of the things where people think it'll help, and it does the exact opposite. Keeps it inflamed, stops the hair from growing. So you're much safer going with something like coconut oil, and it's good fun. Like, it's hilarious. I was rubbing it on three puppies earlier, and the mother's over. The mother's licking the puppy, and sometimes all the puppies will lick themselves, and it's hilarious. It's good fun, and everyone can get involved in doing it. And then you're giving the family an opportunity where they see what they can do next time the skin is bad. I mean, technically speaking, if it's not scabies, for basically all the other skin parasites, they could just wash it. I prefer they'd wash it with like baby shampoo, I'd say that. But they could just wash the dog with Sunlight, which they'll probably use, or preferably baby shampoo. Put coconut oil all over it. And if it had fleas, ticks, anything like that, they probably will be gone just from that. So it's another opportunity for people to be able to help the dogs without going down the path of buying medicine, which they may be reluctant to do, or their financial circumstances might limit them doing that. And yeah, basically, giving the medicine to the dogs first, and sort of explaining to the family later, or giving the medicine giving the medicine yourself while explaining what you're doing to the family, but kind of keeping the people out of the interaction, because they'll be excited and they'll run at the dog, and it will interrupt giving the medicine. The dog may actually bolt, or you may not be able to give the medicine. So try to make sure that you always hand over medicine yourself. You know what you're doing with the medicine, and you know which dog's getting it, and there's much less confusion there. But you can ask the people who are there maybe to hold back one or two of the dogs, especially with puppies. They're very fast to try to grab medicine. So if there's three puppies there, you can ask for two of them to be held, or even one, and that way it's much easier for you to make sure the right puppy gets the medicine. I went back, and all the puppies' bellies are swollen. Once a puppy's belly is swollen, it means it's full of worms. Usually, I mean, I don't know of any other cause for it, but usually it's full of worms. So I gave half a Mectin to those three puppies 2 days ago, and I went back this morning, and all the puppies' bellies are looking normal again, which is great. So I gave a quarter Mectin that time, and that should take care if there's any eggs and stuff. There's more complete dewormers like Drontal Full Spectrum or something, but Mectin takes care of the majority of stuff, and it would help for something like heartworm as well. So it's a pretty good option. It's ivermectin, and yeah, it's a pretty good option. I also parental promote is one of the main ingredients in Drontal. There are two other ingredients, and that'll deal with most worms as well. But it's a little bit harder to split, but it's very cheap. So that's an excellent option too. You can always mix, you can always mix up Mectin or parental promote. And if you're only treating a few dogs, you buy the Drontal, that's fine, you know. But if you're treating hundreds of dogs, you'll want to save some money. So I hope some of that is helpful. And best of luck helping all the dogs who cross your path. Thanks.